Greetings. My name is Mr. Waleed. I'm the Assistant Principal of Discipline here at Gibbs Center East, and I'm going to present to you the expectations for the Spring 2022 session. The topics that we want to cover is introduction to support staff, expectations, dress code, daily operation, interventions, lockdowns, evacuations and safe rooms, advisement, incentives, and permissive. Support staff, we have counselors. We're gonna start with 11th and 12th grade counselor. He's also the head counselor, Mr. Palmieri. Our 10th grade counselor is Mr. Givens. 6th through 9th grade is Ms. Beard, and Mr. Grant is the restorative practices counselor. Mr. Grant is gonna work with the individuals that kind of like have a situation going on in the classroom with any faculty or staff and doing a mediation process. That's his role specifically for that, okay? Social worker is Ms. Bryant, and school-based therapist is Mr. August, and we have others as well. So we have a lot of information and people to help support you here at Gibbs Center East to make you be successful. All right, let's look at discipline. I know I told you I'm the discipline coordinator, but what I want you to get in your mind is the term discipline. A lot of times we think of something punitive when we hear the word discipline, but if you read that definition up here, basically it's saying being able to behave and work in a controlled way. Say for instance, if you want to exercise and get fit, it takes discipline. See, so you have to be able to control that, and it's a mindset. So that's why some people say they have self-discipline. They're able to control themselves in a way that they don't need anybody else to manage that piece for them. And that's where we want to get you to that place, okay? Now, Dr. Bell, who's the principal, gets on the intercom every morning and say 4 R's. And when the first R is respectful. The expectation is, number one, be respectful. Respect yourself and your peers, personnel, and property. Maintain personal body space. I know a lot of times you really don't know what personal body space is, so I'm gonna demonstrate so you have an idea what it means to have personal body space. If you hold your hands out or your arms out in front of you, and you go to your sides and you go back and forth, anything outside of your fingertips, that's general space. That's open to anybody, all right? Anything from your fingertip inside, that's personal space. That belongs to you. So you understand that definition when we're talking about personal space and general space, all right? Now, also, follow the dress code while on campus and use appropriate language, tone, and volume. I know a lot of you all at the time use profanity or vulgar language. I will tell you this. I'm not going to say anything about home training. I'm talking about school training. That is not allowed at school. You must be mindful of the kind of conversation that you're having, okay? Just be mindful of that piece, all right? Second expectation, the second R is responsible. Be responsible. What does that mean? Be where you're supposed to be on time. You have 3 minutes to get to class. So that time goes by fast. Enough time to use the restroom, take care of your needs, and get to your next class. You don't have far to travel. We're not a large school for space-wise. So you should get to your class on an appropriate time. We don't want to deal with too many tardies. If it is, you will be addressed on a one-on-one basis with that. All right? Stay awake and alert. We get up early in the morning to come to the school. We let you in here at 6:40, and you get out at 1 o'clock. So be mindful. You can't go to bed late and get up and think you'll be successful. Must make sure you have a good meal as well, okay? Make sure those things are happening and you're getting enough sleep like you should. Bring your supplies, secure your belongings, and keep moving to the right side of the hall. You're responsible in those matters. Bring what you need for your class. The third R is the expectation is resilient, all right? Make better choices today than you did yesterday. We know you're gonna make mistakes. There are gonna be some obstacles and stuff that you have. That's why we're here to work with you, and we give you these interventions so you can do what you need to do and be able to give you those strategies you can utilize as you move forward in life. And then adapt to stress and adversity. You're going to be stressful, even as adults. We have to know how to deal with stress and deal with adversity. There's going to be some good days and bad days, but how do we handle and deal with those things? So make sure you're working on those as well, and we're here to help you with that. But be resilient. The last R is role model. Be role models, all right? So make good choices, be honest and polite. Apologize and admit mistakes. If you made a mistake, just admit it and own up to it, and let's keep moving forward. All right? And we also want you to be active learner and stay on task. Put forth your best effort at all times. So once again, to recap, there are 4 R's that you hear. Be respectful, responsible, resilient, role models. All right? And we'll talk about PBIS on the slides further down. All right? Dress code. As you know by now, the dress code is you can wear black, solid gray, or solid white hoodies or covering tops, okay? You can also have a small logo is allowed on your hoodies, all right? A small logo, not a large logo. So this is what is acceptable and what is allowed when you're talking about your tops. You even see a short sleeve, solid black shirt, and it has a collar, all right? So your shirts will have a collar. The only shirts that do not need to have a collar is if you purchase a Give shirt. Give shirts don't have to have a collar on them. If it is not a Give shirt, all your other shirts must have a collar, okay? And you must make sure if you wear a hoodie, you must have a shirt underneath your hoodie. You can't just have a hoodie on. You need a shirt underneath your hoodie, all right? These are some examples of what's not allowed. Remember I was saying that large writing with across the chest, and stripes, because it's not solid. And then even though this is a black hoodie, it has large writing and everything. So those are not allowed, okay? Be very clear. Let's start top by the bottom. Khaki pants, it's plain and simple. The bottoms are khaki. Now, you notice this person here has on a belt. Belts are not mandatory. However, if you are going to wear a belt, it must be black or brown. You can't have different colors. Your belt must be black or brown. More importantly, the reason why we're saying it's not mandatory is because we want to make sure that you are able to pull your pants up to the appropriate level and nothing is sagging or we can see any undergarments that way. If you need a belt, make sure you wear it appropriately. Don't just have a belt and it's hanging and swinging and your pants are still low. That's not the purpose of that. It's not for decoration. It's for functionality. It must be functional. And that's the reason why we're saying it's not. We want to make sure that you pull your pants up at the appropriate level. Some more bottoms. These are not allowed. Of course, you know you can't wear black. And these are also black and torn and ripped. Can't wear ripped pants. These are khaki pants. However, they're elastic at the bottom down here. And it slows up the search process. That's why we do not allow that here, because you have to go through search every day. So we do not allow the ones that have elastic at the bottom, okay? And we don't also, if this one right here, you notice form fitting. It look like it's painted on. You can't wear clothes that look like it's painted on your body, okay? It must have enough room where it's not fitting you in this manner, okay? We're not accepting that. Now over here, this is attention, no sagging. These are some examples of what it looks like it's sagging. That's not allowed, okay? If somebody tells you to pull your pants up, just follow suit. There's no conversation, make it happen. But we shouldn't constantly telling you to pull your pants up. If you're the same individual, we keep telling you to pull your pants up, there's a possibility that you can receive a consequence, okay? We don't want that to be the case, but we are here and we are doing what we need to do, and we want you to do what you need to do. All right, another example, here's more with pants down. Of course, we know don't wear jeans. But here's something that's been going on a lot lately, and it is not allowed. Hands in front of your pants like this inside of your pants is not allowed. That's not appropriate, okay? It's not allowed. If your hands are cold, you put them in your pockets. You're not allowed. You can receive consequences or a consequence if you're doing this. This is not allowed, okay? Dress code part of the sneakers. Solid black, solid white, or a mixture of black and white. We don't have different colors, so this is what is allowed. You see the croc over here to the left, it has an attach for the heel. That's allowed. The one over here has a slash down because there is nothing attached to the heel. So that is not allowed. You must make sure you see the difference. The one on the left is allowed, the one on the right is not allowed, okay? These are some examples of footwear that is not allowed. Of course, you see there's nothing attached here and toes out, that's not allowed. Multicolored shoes, these are some examples. They can have many different colors. None of those are allowed because it's not black or white, or solid black or solid white. Here, this is a black and white, but however, it is a slide, and you don't have that because you don't have anything for your toes out, and you don't have anything affixed to your heel, okay? So you make sure that those are not allowed. All right, now we're gonna talk about the search process. When you come in, and we're talking when you come in through your search, your appropriate search area, you're gonna grab a container, and as you grab the container, you're gonna remove your hoodie or jacket, belt, items in pockets, and footwear. You're gonna take anything out of your pockets that you need to have, and you put that into the container. Once you've done that, once you place all the items in containers, you're gonna place it on the search table. At that time, there are gonna be some individuals there that's gonna search those items as you pass through that's in the container. You're gonna proceed through the metal detector. As you proceed through the metal detector, make sure your pockets are out. And the pockets, we're gonna talk dog ears. Like for instance, I'll take my keys out of my pocket and have your pocket where it's out, all right? That's both pockets and back. Make sure they're out. Once you do that, you're gonna lift both pants legs as they tell you to, so we can make sure that there's nothing under your pants leg. And once you do your pants leg, you turn around and you lift up your foot, 1 foot at a time to make sure there's nothing underneath your sock, okay? Then you're gonna, once you've been cleared at that station, you're gonna collect your belongings at that table, and then you're gonna proceed to go ahead and fix yourself, get your shoes put back on or your footwear, and put anything else that you're able to put back in, all right? You're gonna review the dress code. Only a sealed water bottle is a drink that is allowed that is not with a lunch. If you do not have lunch, the only thing that you can bring in is a sealed water bottle. That seal can't be broken. You can't bring in a container that has already been taken off or you put back on back and forth. It has to be sealed. Now, if you bring Gatorade or something like that, it must be with a lunch. Okay, if you have it with a lunch, that's fine. And if you do have it with a lunch, all lunch items need to be in a sealed, clear Ziploc bag. All right, and would be not confiscated, but it will be collected at the search and will give it back to you during your lunch period. Okay? No sharing of drink nor food items, because we know we're in a pandemic and all, but that's just not good because some people might be allergic to things that you may not be aware of, so we do not share food and drinks, all right? All right, now, here's another thing that we're adding, and we're getting in the process that you'll start seeing, an amnesty box. What we're gonna have is the amnesty box is you're responsible for everything that you bring. No excuses, oh, I didn't know that, this is my brother's pants, or this is my sister's coat. You're responsible for everything that you have in your possession when you come in through search. 9/10 of the law is possession, okay? So make sure you self-search. You search yourself before you go through search. Make sure you don't have any contraband or anything on you that you're not supposed to have. Now, if you have contraband, just make sure. So make sure you search before you leave your house. If you forget before you leave your house, that's an ideal thing is to search before you leave the house or wherever you're coming from. But if you forget to search before you come in the building, make sure you search yourself. And then that's why we have the amnesty box. If you have any contraband or anything on you that you should not have at school that's illegal to have, you have the opportunity to put it in an amnesty box. Okay? That way you just go there, put it in, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, no one asks you any questions, and you can go through search without even having to go through a situation where you might get a consequence and or deal with a situation you don't want to deal with, okay? That is the amnesty box for you, okay? Now, daily operations, just so I know when I mention about search, on this end of the building, which you'll know when you get here, is 6th through 9th grade search in the front on the other end parking lot, and the 10th grade is the second door. In the front of the building on the other end near the cafeteria side, 11th and 12th graders go through that search section, okay? Now, also, late search goes through 6 through 9. So if you get here from 7 o'clock on up until 8:30, this is where search is located right here through the 6th through 9th grade. So if you get here from 7 to 8:30, you must go enter through 6 through 9. If you come after 8:30, you have to go through the front office and go through search in the front office at that time, okay? Daily operation transitions. Make sure that you're walking down the right side of the hall at all times, just like how people drive in traffic here, all right? You're going down the right side. We don't have any collision. Anybody saying you bump up into them, we honor that space. Excuse me, let me go back to this picture here. This is the courtyard. This is where we have our green garden and we have different activities out there. You are not allowed to cut across the front and back hallway through the courtyard unless you are with an adult. You have to be with an adult to go through the courtyard, okay? Let's talk about lunch. When you come through lunch, you go through the lunch line, and it's on one side of the lunch line, and you go down and you make your selection, and you'll come down. You have an assigned table by your class. Each classroom teacher has an assigned table or tables. Most teachers have 2 tables. The teacher will let you know where your area is when you go to the cafeteria. Make sure you're sitting in your assigned table, at your assigned table. You are not allowed to walk around and go from table to table. Once you get your food and you sit down at your table, you must be at your table until it's time for you to get ready to leave. Now, we understand that you want to use the restroom. You'll let us know when you go on, and we'll make sure we get you to the restroom. And also, there's someone going to come down with a trash bin, which we'll talk about, that you can put your trash in. This is what I'm talking about right here. So this is an example of the schedule of where the teachers have their assigned tables. You'll sit there, you'll remain seated, staff will come by, and you'll put the trash in the bin. There are days that we will have what's called a PBIS stores. There's a day that's selected through the week when there's a PBIS store. You can use your points to go ahead and go to the store. We're going to call the assigned tables a few tables at a time. Only get up if it's your table have been called. Wait for that, okay? The first 3 lunches, lunch 1, 2, and 3, will exit from the cafeteria to the right and go down the hall to the make that left turn and proceed to go to your classroom. The reason for that is because we have the next lunch. As you're leaving, the next lunch is coming down the hall, coming in the cafeteria. So we having like that one-way transition so we don't have the crowd, okay? It's a smooth flow, all right? If you have to use the restroom, when it's time to go, you won't be allowed to use the restroom right across from the cafeteria because the other groups are coming. So you would have to walk down and go to the front hallway, that direction I just told you, to use those restrooms. So if you know you get ready to use the restroom, you might want to try to use it before the bell rings for your lunch period to end. Other than that, you would have to wait to go down, except for the last lunch, which is the fourth lunch, because you all will go to your last period class after that lunch period, okay? Daily operation, dismissal of buses. All right, the dismissal of buses. There are two ways you can exit out of the building, especially if you're in the back hall. The cafeteria hall, you can exit that way, but majority of the students exit through the front office lobby. Those are the two exits to go to catch your bus. If you ride the bus, there is a chart that's usually put up for you to see your route number. Only thing you have to do is locate your route number, and it's by order. Like if your route number is 310 in the third spot, it's the third bus from that area. Okay, we have outside and the inside. And we have people out there that assist you if you need to. But make sure you know your route number before the end of that day, because we do not have long before we dismiss those buses. We don't want to hold up 20 buses because one student is trying to find out what bus they're supposed to get on. Matter of fact, during this orientation, if it is already figured out, make sure you find out what your bus number is if you riding a bus. If you don't, we'll get it as it comes along. This doesn't apply to everybody, only bus riders, right? Dismissal for car riders. Usually the back hallway at the end of the building where the 10th grade search side is. That's where you will leave as a car rider. Car riders go out one door. That's the only door car riders exit out of the building, that back hallway where the 10th grade search area is, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you briefly, positive behavior intervention and support, PBIS. We are PBIS school, and we are proud to be a PBIS school, and there's some things that we'll talk about as you go along. But one of the things that we normally do, that's one of the things that we implement in PBIS, is what we do is restorative circle, okay? In restorative circle, that's the time when you get there, if you have a conflict with a student or anyone, that's the time when we have people sit down and talk, and sometimes there are small group settings just for people to talk about whatever they need to talk about. It can be with the teacher, it can be with the counselor and the support staff. This is where we are. You may not want to talk the first time, but as time goes on, you may open up. But this is something, opportunity that we utilize here is a restorative circle. Now, also we have, these actual pictures put together of what our amygdala room looks like. I know you're probably saying, what is an amygdala? Amygdala is the part of the brain that handles and deals with emotion. It's going to decide if you're going to fight, flight, or freeze, okay? Make sure. That's why we have this. This is for sensory, to make people, help you to calm down and do what it is that you need to do. We all sometimes might have to take 5 or 10. We have to take a breather. We all have triggers. We all have moments where we have bad days. We don't want you to get to the point where you feel like you're going to explode or escalate a situation. What you need to do in a respectful manner, ask the teacher that, hey, can we get someone to escort me to the amygdala room so I can reset myself? All right, that's no problem with that. This is what we have. We have trampolines, we have a punching bag, we have a bicycle, we have other things in there. There are many other things that we have in here to help you controlling your breathing and different things. So we give you that opportunity because we understand we're all human. Sometimes we have to get to that point where we can calm ourselves down and get back to where we need to get to. All right, that's the amygdala room. Now, what I'm going to talk about, school lockdown. There are two. You have a hard lockdown and a soft lockdown. Let's look at the hard lockdown. While I'm talking, you can just look at these pictures because I'm visual. You'll remember when you see pictures what it is, what I'm talking about. When it's a hard lockdown, that means the threat is inside of the building, okay? It is inside of the building. School stops, get to the shelter, and hide. There is no talking, so what you do, you stop talking. The teachers make sure the doors are locked, and they're gonna make sure that the outside blinds are open. Because if we have to have law enforcement at all, they need to be able to look to make sure everything is clear in those areas and we'll find out where the threat is and locate it. That's what happens during the hard lockdown. It is inside of the building. And one thing I would caution you about, be very careful what I have in red right here. Do not respond to a fire alarm. Sometimes the people who want to harm others, they know when they go to a place, how do you get people to evacuate? You push the fire alarm. When people hear fire alarm, they go rushing out. And we don't want you to be a target. So if it so happens to be a fire and we're on a lockdown, you'll wait till you get directions from the adult in that room, okay? But don't just run out. We want to make sure that everyone is safe. We have things in place. The soft lockdown, the threat is outside of the building. So what we already pretty much on a soft lockdown all times anyway, because all of our exterior doors are locked. No one can just open and close our doors without being let in, okay? That means the threat could be somebody probably robbed a bank 5-mile radius. They place all schools on lockdown to make sure that we are safe. We're able to carry on with the school day and instruction. You can move around inside of the building in the hallways, but you can't go in or out of the building. That's the difference, okay? All right? So that is for a lockdown. One more thing I would say, next moving to the severe weather. you have a tornado warning and a thunderstorm warning, okay? When you can either kneel or sit on your bottoms. You're gonna face the wall, as you see in these pictures here. You're gonna face the wall, so make sure debris doesn't get in your face or anything. And you can cover your head by placing your hand over, because should something fall from the ceiling at all, you wanna protect your brain and your head. That's what you definitely wanna protect, okay? All right, so you make sure. Now what happens is you're gonna get a prompt, and we'll tell on the intercom, teachers, you need to locate to a designated area. We're in a severe warning, or we need to go to that area. If you're in a classroom that faces windows, that's any type of window, you are not in a designated room. Designated rooms do not have windows. So your teacher will know which room you need to go in to make sure that you're safe, all right? You're gonna remain calm and proceed in an orderly fashion, okay? That's what you're gonna do. It's all about safety. All right, during evacuations, fire drills or whatever, what you wanna make sure you're gonna follow the directions of your teacher. At the sound of the alarm, quickly and orderly move to your designated zone. We have 4 zones in this building. Your teachers will let you know what zone that you're in. The building is divided by zones. We have 4 zones in this building. You're gonna remain in an orderly fashion. Your teacher will complete an accountability sheet. They're gonna make sure they account for every student that's in their room. And if anybody is in another area, that's why we have administrators and people designated with radios to make sure all students and staff and all stakeholders, visitors, and everyone are accounted for, okay? Now, advisement. Here at Gibbs Center East, we have a student activity book with advisement that we're doing. We're working with certain skills to get you to deal with respect, caring, understanding, and just different activities that is going to be involved in that piece. What we want you to understand is your schedule. When you get your schedule, your advisement is second period. But what I want you to pay attention to, Monday through Thursday, second period starts at 7:54 and ends at 8:38. That's Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, your advisement second period class starts at 12:16 to 1 o'clock. So your advisement is after lunch. So let me say this. On Monday through Thursday, your advisement is second period, which is 7:54 in the morning. But on Fridays, it is at 12:16, okay? Just be mindful of that piece. Activities, what we have instead of Fun Fridays. Every other Friday, we have activities for Fun Friday. Basketball, makerspace, use of 3D printers and interactive boards, production studio, gaming room, art activities, and the greenhouse. That's what I was telling you about out there in the courtyard, where you were growing different crops, okay? We have these activities that you can choose, and how you go about that? Well, Fun Friday Centers, what is the criteria for participation? All core academic classes, ELA, math, science, social studies, and your advisement at a 70% or above. That's where you need to be. No NTIs, and 0 days of ISS or OSS for the 2-week period, okay? So make sure for that 2-week period, you don't have in school or out of school. Each student must receive a green check mark by Wednesday of that Fun Friday week to participate. So by that Wednesday, you need to have that Fun Friday etched in stone. So if it's Thursday, you're trying to ask your teacher, can I just turn this in? Your deadline is by Wednesday it needs to happen, because that's when they're gonna check during that time for that week, all right? Now, how do you go about selecting your activities? You go to the school's website, Gibbs Center East website, choose Fun Friday Selection, where you see right here. Then this comes up, Fun Friday Selection, activities. You'll put your name, your first and last name, your grade, your first choice and second choice. The reason why you have 2 choices, because once we get a cap of a certain number, then we'll go to the second choice. Should you have not received your first choice for 2 Fridays, please let your advisement teacher know so we can make sure that next time we can get you in your first choice. Okay, we want to make sure that we can get that done for you. Now, last thing I want to talk about is permissive. You must be in good standing with your academics and behavior in order to be granted a permissive. If you fail to maintain your good standing, your permissive can be revoked. I mean, there's some students who are doing great here. The grades are improving, the behavior is improving, and they want to remain here for a while because they don't want to go back and get into anything, and they want their grades to be in good standing. Now, if those things are in good standing, we'll allow you, that's what means permissive, to allow you to stay. Now, if we allow you to stay and those things start changing, especially with your behavior and all, your permissive can be revoked, okay? So we just want to make sure